Today, we are talking all things New Year's intentions, manifestations, vision boards, resolutions, everything that I do as a busy mom who's committed to my personal growth and my wellness to really set up the year of my dreams. So, if you love goal setting and intention setting and all of those sorts of things, and you want some new strategies, or if you've always struggled with New Year's resolutions, but you really have big dreams and goals for your life and your year, this is the episode for you. Let's do it. Hey, Mama, welcome back to the Thrive Mama podcast. I'm Martina, certified nutrition consultant and holistic health coach, and a mama of two, and I'm so glad that you're here. We are here to help busy moms unlock their energy, balance their hormones, and break out of burnout using nutrition as a foundation so that you can move past surviving to actually thrive in motherhood. Let's do this. All right, Mama, I'm so excited for this topic today because I freaking love goal setting. And I love all things manifestation and vision setting. And I'm going to talk you through today my process that I go through at the end of every year to really get clear on my visions and my areas of focus and my intentions for the year ahead. And I really think this makes all the difference in the world for my own personal growth for the year ahead. And this kind of thing makes my Virgo rising heart very, very happy. But you may not love goal setting the way that I do. So I want to talk you through a few things that I think some people get really wrong about vision setting and goal setting and New Year's resolutions, and hopefully offer you some alternative strategies so that you can tap into this intentionality around setting up your new year without getting stuck down in sort of rigid structures that actually don't work for you and your personality type. So, first of all, you can set goals any damn time you want. Like New Year's Day is really just a social construct, and energetically speaking, doesn't have to be the time that you set new goals or get intentional. So, for some people here in the middle, the depth of winter, this is not the time that you even care about looking forward at your future and setting big goals and planting seeds for your dreams. This ain't it for you. And that makes a lot of sense, energetically speaking, because the world around us is in deep rest and deep hibernation. So if you always get to New Year's and you're like, I don't know, I'm tired, I'm burned out, I don't care about goals right now, then don't. Bookmark this episode and come back to it at another time that I'm about to share with you. There's a few other times of year that I actually think are really powerful for this sort of exercise. You also don't have to do this once a year. Some people see a lot of value and traction in setting these sorts of goals every month, maybe around every new moon, maybe every seasonal change, so like 4 times a year. But I personally love doing a big step back once a year, looking at my overall life and fulfillment and the direction that I want things to go in. So if New Year's is not the time for you personally to do that, some other places you can play with are your birthday is actually a great time. This is your personal solar return where the sun is in the same spot as it was when you were born. And your birthday is a really powerful time of fresh starts and fresh cycles. And it can be really nice to lean into that energy. Throw New Year's resolutions out the window, but every birthday, take yourself on a little goal setting date and do these sorts of exercises I'm going to talk you through to look at big picture at your life and set some visions for the year ahead. There are also a lot of people who really lean into the astrological energy and celebrate New Year's around late March, which is the start of Aries season. And Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So this is a big sign of like new cycles, new energy, rebirth. And because it's like early spring outside, many of us have a natural shift in energy where we start to want to plant seeds, both literal and metaphorical, and really lean into that energy of visions and dreams and goals and manifestations. It's a really aligned, energetic time for that in late March. So if New Year's just ain't your thing, play around with monthly around the new moon, play around with your personal birthday, and or wait until March when you're out of hibernation mode and you can really lean into this. Now, all that being said, I happen to love New Year's. I really do. Even with all those things in mind, I think the collective energy around New Year's is really infectious. And just because it's an arbitrary date on a calendar doesn't mean it doesn't hold energetic power, because if the collective world as a whole has all agreed that this is the time for a fresh cycle, a fresh start, new dreams, new goals, then that does change our collective energy as a society, as humanity. And I really do feel that here in, very late December and early January. So I always do a New Year's process for myself, but please feel free to use these strategies at any time of the year that feels right for you to set goals and dreams and visions. I would also highly recommend that you involve your family in this process if you'd like to, if you want. I think moms can be a really powerful sort of trendsetter for the family culture as a whole. And it can be really meaningful to sit down with your kids and have them think through what they want their new year to look like, to set goals and do activities together. I love to have a new year kind of vision date with my wife where we have a few hours by ourselves and we really do some logistical planning and then some more intention setting and dream planning for our year ahead as a family. So please feel free to weave in other people depending on the ages of your kids. They may get super into this. So the first thing I do is a year in review for the year that's completing. And I do this typically in my journal over probably a couple of weeks of reflecting and answering a few key questions. And I'll list some of these questions out for you now if you want to take my process and use it yourself in your own journal for your own reflection. So I have my journal here. I'm going to be reading from 2023, and I'm working on creating my 2024 one. So for my year in review, I would write down a highlight of the year, the best decision I made this year, how I grew this year, any of the biggest obstacles or challenges from this past year, and then any lessons I learned from those obstacles or just in general, any lessons I learned from the year. And that's also a really powerful exercise to see on paper, okay, what was really hard this year? And what value did those challenges potentially offer? That doesn't mean every hard thing happens for a reason and we just need to be grateful for them. Like, you could sit there and be like, yeah, that was fucking hard. That was really hard. And maybe it's still really hard. But just honoring and giving space to what is hard, and then giving yourself an opportunity for, if there is a lesson to come forward from that challenge, let that be there and honor that too. I also like to write down what I'm most proud of or grateful for from the year. I feel like we do so much forward thinking. We don't always stop and look back and celebrate everything we actually did. We did the things and be really grateful for the things that did happen for the past year. So I make sure to leave space for, what am I proud of? What am I really grateful for? And then I do a sort of life audit of 7 main categories of my life. And when I say life audit, what I mean is, in each of these categories, I sort of do like a general rating of how fulfilled I'm feeling in that category of my life. And then I'll also jot down underneath it if there's any key areas that have worked this year, like they've been really good, shown improvement, and are really working out, or some key areas that are not working, that are a focus for me to change this next year. And I'll share those 7 categories with you now if you wanted to write these down and do this sort of audit on your own. Those categories I look at are my health, overall family, romantic partnership, friendships, career and business, finances, and then the last category is the sort of fun. I call it the fun category, but it's really just how much adventure, experiences, hobbies, just like fun, joyful things are present in my life. So again, those are health, family, romantic partnerships, friendships, career, finances, and fun. So I'll write those 7 categories out in my journal and I will sort of rate them, how fulfilled I'm feeling, and jot down any key notes about those categories that I really am grateful for from the past year and that I might need to shift for the coming year. I also think it's really valuable to take a moment and journal on how does your life look different now than it did last year at this time? And sometimes, especially in motherhood, it can feel like every day is just the same and we're just sort of in the weeds of the everyday tasks. But if we zoom out and look big picture, we can see things really are shifting in big ways in our life. And so, looking back at December of last year compared to right now, how is your life different than it was? And that can be a really powerful question to reflect on as well. So, after I do this reflecting over the past year, I start the visioning process for next year. And for now, this is still just writing out some reflections to what do I want to manifest and welcome in for each of those 7 categories. So, this is where I get really specific about things that I want to happen in each category. And I'll also just include more general words that describe like the energy or the state of being. So, for example, in my finances category, I might write down my salary goal for the year, but I would also write down words of how I want my finances and my money to feel. And I would write down words like ease or abundance or gratitude or whatever words really encompass how I want my relationship with that thing to feel. For my career, I may write down a revenue goal. I may write down some metrics around this many people on my email list or this many clients served. But I would also write down words here that describe my relationship with my work. And I would write down words around cycle syncing my work. So being in real flow and balancing rest and creation energy with my cycle. That would be a goal of mine for my career next year. So this obviously is very individual to you, but going through each category, writing out any key tangible things that you want in that category for your health, family, romantic partnership, friendships, career, finances, and fun. And then also writing in any specific words that describe the energy or the relationship to that thing. Again, I'll answer some reflection questions about the coming year, and I'll list some of those key questions out for you now if you want to take my questions and use them in your process. So I write down, what am I most excited for the next year? What are my values or core beliefs that I'm carrying forward into next year? So I have 5 written down from last year, 5 values and core beliefs that I want to carry on into the next year. I write down my biggest personal goal, relationship with myself. And then I write down my biggest career goal as well. And then one of my favorite questions for looking at the year ahead is how do I want to feel throughout the next year? And you can write many feeling words out, but really list out how do I want to feel over the year ahead? And once I have that down, I look over that visioning list and I start to look for overall patterns. So I will circle keywords or phrases that maybe appear in multiple categories. So for me, even just the couple of examples that I gave, both were about sort of ease and flow. So I might have an overall theme of flow or ease or allow, like these words that really describe sort of letting go and not gripping or trying so hard. That might be a pattern that comes out for me. So I would circle those. So on yours, you might have an overall pattern of more joy and fun. You might have an overall pattern of more support and more help, whatever it is. Circle keywords or phrases that come up multiple times for your pattern and pull those out of your visioning list. So, my next step is to really try to narrow down on a word of the year. And this is one of my favorite New Year's hacks because instead of setting a bunch of New Year's resolutions, which is actually not what we're doing here, we are choosing an anchor word for the entire year that we can connect into over and over again that really gets to the heart of what we want. Because often when we make a list of resolutions, we're really focusing on either the outside action or we're focusing on the end result. But what we really crave as humans is the feeling, is the experience. And we go after these things because we think they'll give us that feeling and that experience. We go after all this money because we think that will make us feel secure. We go after really strong romantic partnerships because we think that that will make us feel attractive or loved. But at the end of the day, one of the key tenets of manifestation is you have to embody the feeling before you ever get the thing. So before you have $500,000 in your bank account, you embody the feeling of abundance and generosity and security. And before you have a partner reflecting it back to you, you embody the feeling of confidence and worthiness and inner love. So instead of making a long list of resolutions, we are zoning in on a word that gets to the heart of the feeling. What are we really after here? Why do we want that goal in career? Why do we want that goal in our family? It all comes down to an experience of being, like how we feel moving through our lives. And the big manifestation hack here is that you get to feel that way now. You don't have to wait for these goals to come true to feel that way. And actually, by focusing on the feeling first, you begin to embody the kind of person who has all of those things that you want. So, this is why it's really powerful to pick a word of the year instead of a long list of resolutions. I know we just got specific with our categories, but those things we wrote down are less about this is my checklist for the year and is more about giving us a direction and some clarity on what am I really craving more of this year. So we're not treating our visioning list as a to-do list for the year. We are treating it as a way to clarify our core desires and what we're craving more of. So this might take some time. Sometimes I have to sit with these words for a few weeks to let them settle and to really feel out which one has the most power for me. My word for this past year was connect, and it was a really powerful one, and I was really seeking more connection with myself and my soul self. I was seeking more connection in community, and I was seeking more connection with my spiritual practice, and I found the word connect really encompassed all of those things. If you're feeling really stumped on your word of the year or nothing quite seems right, I highly encourage you to use an AI tool to see if it can help you reflect back some things you're saying. So you use ChatGPT, you can copy in some of the things you wrote down on your visioning section. You can say, hey, ChatGPT, this is my list of things I want this year. This is how I want to feel this year. Give me 20 options for a word of the year that encompasses these things and see what it comes up with. It may give you some new insight or some new ideas. So, figuring out my word of the year is a big piece of this process and is really powerful. And I keep that word of the year everywhere. Sometimes I'll go on Canva and make like a background for my phone that has that word on it. I'll share about my vision board here in a moment, but it's very prominent on my vision board. It is, maybe the cover of my journal. Like you keep your word of the year really present and front of mind as you move through your daily life. Now, the last thing that I do that is more reflective before I get into my vision board is I have a deep practice with tarot cards. And one really fun thing with tarot cards is that there is a numerology significance to each card. And there's a practice, a study of the way that numbers interact with the energy of the card. And so it's really fun is you can use the year, the number of the year, to match the year up to a tarot card that sort of encompasses the energy of the year. So if you add up the numbers for 2025, if you add 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5, you get the number 9. And 9 in the tarot is the Hermit card. So that means we as a collective are going through a Hermit year with the Hermit card because it's number 9. And if you don't know, the Hermit card in the tarot, it's not so much about being like isolated and alone. You don't have to go be a hermit this year, but it is about deep introspection. So a hermit year is really about slowing down, breaking out of like the daily grind to make space to go inside, to do some internal seeking and reflection. So the hermit year as a whole, our whole collective is really about going inside for reflective and introspection time. So that's interesting to know as I work with my goals in my year. You can also do this with your birthday to find your own personal card of the year, which is getting a little more complicated than this podcast episode's going to dive into. But if you're interested in learning more about sort of tarot numerology and tarot for your personal journey, the internet's a great place. You can use, again, ChatGPT and say, hey, how do I find out my personal tarot card for next year? There's also some wonderful books. Mary Kay Greer has written one called Tarot for Yourself, which is a really beautiful read and gets really deep into all of this, your soul card and your card for each year and all of that. So I know my tarot card for next year based on the numerology. This isn't something I randomly drew. This is like the numbers of the year in the card. And I'm using that in my visioning and reflections of like how might I embody that year ahead. So just a fun little layer. If you also like tarot or you're interested in learning more about tarot, this is a fun way maybe to get started with that. Hey there, mama. Quick question. Are you feeling drained, overwhelmed, or just ready for more actionable strategies for nourishing yourself in motherhood? Well, I've got a special gift for you. I am opening the waitlist for my Thrive Mama group coaching program. And when you join the priority waitlist, I am gifting you 5 free lessons straight from inside the program itself, delivered right to your inbox. So these 5 lessons are packed with simple, actionable strategies to help you transform the way that you think about energy and stress and focus on the highest impact areas to start unlocking more energy, balancing your blood sugar, balancing your hormones, and healing your nervous system. And there are free lessons in here on exactly how energy and stress are connected, how food plays a role into all of this, how to know if you're actually eating enough food, which, hint, hint, you're probably not, and how to snack in a way that actually supports your energy instead of draining you more. And the best part is you will also get early access to Thrive Mama when the doors open, and there'll be a special waitlist discount for you. Plus, you get a sneak peek into the transformation and the resources that would be waiting for you inside of Thrive Mama. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link below the show notes, join the priority waitlist, and start your thriving era today. So now I have all of my deep reflections I've been doing probably over a couple of weeks. I have my journaling over last year. I have my visioning in these 7 categories for next year. And now I do create a physical vision board. And I love this process because I love being creative and working with my hands, and it feels like a really fun outlet. And you can do this online. You can use Canva. There's tons of templates for vision boards, or you can just make your own. You can print it, you can save it digitally, whatever you want to do. I also think it's really fun to get a piece of, poster board and make a real vision board on paper and have that physical reminder hanging in your office, in your bedroom throughout the year. It can be really powerful. So, when you're making a vision board, a couple of things that I would recommend. Number 1 is to do this reflection process first. Some people will gather magazines or just go on Canva, and then whatever pictures like jog something in them are what they add onto their board. But unless you have a vision first, it's easy for your vision board to just turn sort of reactive to like what's in the magazine, what's on Canva's photos, and not really have your true vision and intentionality behind it. And then you end up with a vision board that's like really aesthetically cool, but may not be as powerful for your own intentions. And then I also recommend that the vision board making process be a bit of a ritual for you. So try to do this in a time where you're not distracted, where you can really settle in. And as you make it, it's a sort of devotional, meditative process to the things that you're calling in, to your desires, to the states of being, to the changes that you want in your life. And so every time you're writing a word or coloring something in or cutting something out, you're focusing on that thing, and putting your intention behind it is actually where the power comes from. One powerful tool that I learned from Catherine Zenkina from the Manifestation Babe, she teaches a lot about manifestation. And one thing she recommends with vision boards is to always include things you already have, things you're already grateful for that you have in your life that you want to keep around. So include some of those things on your vision board along with the things you don't have yet that you're calling in. The reason that that's powerful is because we are trying to train the subconscious to see ourselves as the kind of people who have these things already, who have the dream job, who have the dream home, who went on that amazing trip. And we want our subconscious to really believe that that's possible for us. And you may have heard this before, but 95% of our thoughts and our actions and our emotions come from the subconscious. They don't come from the rational thinking brain. They come from the subconscious that we're not even aware of. So even if your rational thinking brain is screaming, yes, I want all this money. Yes, I want that dream partnership. Your subconscious may have a different story that is driving 95% of your beliefs and your emotions and your actions every single day. So when you include on your vision board things that you already have that you're grateful for and you want to keep, and it's right next to that thing that's a little bit of a stretch that you don't have yet, that's a really powerful message to the subconscious. It's viewing everything together as the version of your life that is totally possible for you. And it's sort of a bridge from where you are now and training your subconscious to believe that you can get to where you want to be. So, just a little suggestion from the amazing Catherine Zenkina that I'll pass on to you. Include things you already have that you're grateful for on your vision board next to, include a few of those and then expand out into the things you don't have yet that you're calling in for this year. And from there, you can really set up your vision board any way you want. I typically, in each of my 7 categories, I will have at least one word or image on my vision board that sort of symbolizes what I'm calling in. So if I'm calling in a specific trip somewhere, I'll have a picture from that trip. If I am calling in a certain type or feeling of or activity around my friendships, I would have a word or a picture on my vision board that symbolizes that. And then you can use imagery, you can use words and phrases, you can cut things out, you can draw, you can use Canva, however you want to put it together creatively. But the important thing is to have it have meaning for you and have images or words that really represent what you're calling in for your year. And then here's the piece that I think a lot of people miss that makes their visioning and their goal setting a lot less effective. And that is the tangible, practical step. So after I create my vision board, I actually go into my calendars and I look at where these things are going to happen. So I'll start with a quarterly map. And I usually do this on paper first and then I move it digitally. This is a quarterly map for my business. If you're on YouTube, you can see kind of what it looks like in the video, but I'll divide my piece of paper up into 4 because there's 4 quarters in the year. And then I will add in a focus for each quarter. So if one of the things I'm calling in for my family is, like a playroom that's like sort of remodeled and more organized, okay? Then I would write that in as a focus for one of the quarters. We're going to really focus on the playroom in quarter 2, which is, April, May, June. Or if one of my core things is developing a regular exercise routine for my health, I'm going to write in what quarter is that going to be a focus for me. Because what we often do is we try to do everything at once in January. And by March, we're doing none of it because everything at once was way too overwhelming. And by the end of the year, we've forgotten half the things we wrote down anyway. So if you start with a quarterly map, you can actually spread out what are some of my focuses. It's not that you're not working on the other things, but you're giving everything a designated focus area. And then part of my monthly rituals for myself are I will look at my quarterly map and see where does my focus, what season of my year am I in right now. So I highly recommend once you have your vision board, once you have your year ahead journaling, that you schedule out a first quarterly where are things going to happen. And then if there is anything that needs to be scheduled on your calendar, do it now. So for example, for 2024, this last year, one of my goals was a monthly date night with my wife. We wanted more regular quality time. And so we actually go in months in advance and we will schedule it for every month. Now, does it move a lot of the times? Yes. But the fact that it's on the calendar and it makes us move it means that we won't just forget and 3 months go by and we haven't had a date. So if there's anything like that, you can schedule into your calendar. Workout days, meal prep days, days for writing your book, days you're going to take that trip, whatever it is, anything you can actually schedule on your paper calendar, your Google calendar, do it now. Make it part of your year ahead visioning. And then I really recommend your vision board have a home that you see it a lot. If you have a little altar space, if you have an office space, if you have somewhere in your bedroom you want to leave it, Keeping it handy where you visually see it and it is around your energy is really powerful. And as I said, every new moon, I like to look back at my year ahead visioning. I like to look at my quarterly map. I like to look at my word of the year and kind of do a check in. For this last year, if my word was connect, every month I would ask myself, what do I feel connected to this month? What do I not feel connected to? What do I want to feel more connected to? And you can do that with any word of the year that you choose. So that's where I'm going to leave you today. I know we went through a lot of little pieces today. So feel free to listen to this episode again when you actually sit down to work on your year ahead visioning and your year in review. This is such a powerful practice, and it really brings you into the driver's seat of your life in an empowering way, so that you don't just get swept along with every day-to-day things, and you really have a vision and a direction for what am I grateful for and where do I want to grow from here. And then if you are local to the Kansas City area and you want some more support and community around this, I am actually teaching an in-person workshop on Saturday, January the 4th. And I'll leave the details below in the show notes, but we're actually going to be doing this process together in person and creating our own vision boards for 2025 that really weaves in this manifestation magic into the process. So if you're local to Kansas City, I would love to see you there. If you end up making your vision board for the year, I would love to see it. Send me a picture over on Instagram at Luia Wellness, or you can post it and tag me. I would love to celebrate all of your goals and manifestations for the year ahead. So that's it for today, my love. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all the things. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your holiday season and new year, and I will talk to you soon. Until next time, take beautiful care of yourself.